name is Sid Meier, and I design computer games.
Yeah, Sid Meier. He's the man.
Sid Meier's one of the greatest game designers of all time.
Civ 4 is one of my favorite all-time games.
I mean, it seems like everyone has that kind of childhood. You know, oh, I played Civilization, I played Pirates.
And it was just two things that I really enjoyed, games and programming, and so I was kind of there in the right time, in the right place to be part of the very early days of computer gaming. We're here at my alma mater, the University of Michigan, for the 48-hour game design competition, making a game in 48 hours. We get a theme at the beginning of the 48 hours, and then we have 2 days to make a game. I'm not an official contestant. I kind of wanted to go through the experience and talk to the guys and kind of show them how it's done.
My name is Ryan Meier, and my dad is Sid Meier, of Civilization fame. I'm the president of Wolverine Soft, the game development club here on campus. We put together teams of 2 or 3 people, and their goal is to make a game over the course of the weekend based around a particular theme. This year the theme is restraints. And our guest of honor this year to judge is Mr. Sid Meier. He actually suggested that he would like to actually make a game in the 48 hours. It's not officially judged or anything, but he just thought it'd be an exciting experience to see what he could come up with.
Alright guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Before we actually start with the coding and the making of games and stuff, points are given for creative use of the theme, not creative explanations of how you use the theme. So now, in keeping with the spirit of this weekend, the theme of our competition is going to be the 4-letter L word, love. And for those of you who read that small text, that's not really the case. The actual theme, oh man, who forgot to finish this? The theme this year is restraints. Go forth and code.
I think I've always been interested in making games. I remember when I was a kid, I would spread out on the living room floor all sorts of soldiers and blocks and kind of make up my own stories about Civil War battles. What first kind of got me interested in history was a book that my father gave me, American Heritage History of the Civil War. And an artist had created these sandbox-looking representations of all the great battles. And it felt like something happening in your sandbox with your toy soldiers, but this was real history. What if I had been there? What if I had had that choice to make? If I had that decision to make, what would I have done? What would the consequences have been? And games are the perfect sandbox to explore those kind of questions. I think that's the strategy player, and I've perhaps tapped into that mindset. There are a lot of parallels actually between the indie games movement today and the early days. We didn't have genres, we weren't constrained by trying to fit a specific mold. The budgets were orders of magnitude smaller, so the risks were not as great, and we were able to be a little more adventurous. We were breaking new ground in a lot of ways. That kind of went away for a while, but it's come back with the indie games movement.
I came into the competition because I've always loved programming.
Yeah, I'd love to go into game development, but anything programming is fine.
I'm doing games. I have to. That's what I love.
Yeah, I can totally relate. I have to do games.
Right now people are kind of thinking about the theme and how they want to incorporate it and what kind of game they want to make. We'll definitely see probably a couple of pretty fully done, relatively polished games. We'll probably have a couple clunkers and everywhere in between.
This is the first time I've been coding here at Michigan since I graduated. To be doable in 2 days, it has to be grounded on something I know is probably going to work. I'm thinking of like a maze game. One of the first things that I'm trying to do is just put something up on the screen that either looks fun or doesn't. You're kind of asking the player to jump into this world, So the world has to be appealing and fun and inviting. How do you take it from just a basic maze to something that hasn't been done before? You introduce a simple problem and then you gradually make the problem more complex. When I was here originally, the computer was this huge, massive thing that lived in its own air-conditioned domain, and you went, kind of worshipped it, handed it your deck of cards, and then 20 minutes later, something came back, and you hoped that it had done what you wanted. When I got to college, they were offering this one programming course. And in my spare time, I kind of programmed up this tic-tac-toe algorithm. And in those days, we didn't have terminals. We had to make a deck of cards, we'd hand it in, and somebody would hand you your printout 5 or 10 minutes later. One of the women who was handing out the printouts looked at this printout and saw some tic-tac-toe stuff on it, and horrors. People playing games with the computer, that was like unheard of. She called up the professor in Italy and said, do you know this guy is playing tic-tac-toe and with your computer money, Yes, I was one of the very first computer game programmers, even when it was illegal. In a young designer, we're looking for someone who's kind of able to get to the heart of the problem. I kind of understand what makes a cool game, and perhaps it's not polished, but it has that kernel of playability.
Here, right now, the teams really should kind of. We just want to make sure they are starting to have an idea of what they're going to do for their game, and just make sure everything's on track. If there's any problems, things like that.
The concept of the game is you play as a tiger,
And as a tiger, you're kind of compelled to eat these zookeepers. I mean, that's my favorite part of the game right now.
Essentially, essentially, you have a hunger meter at the top, and you have to fill it up by continuously eating the zookeepers.
I guess we don't really have a solid concept yet as to talk about. Actually, could you come back in like a little bit? I'm kind of like in the flow.
I have no idea how to do C++. I'd like to learn it. And what better way than, hi, I'm the freshman.
It's going to be a multiplayer versus game, and the two players are basically going to use several different abilities to try to build walls and attack each other.
We're creating a game that's, I guess, loosely based on a Duck Hunt style game.
Our game seems like it's going to be one where there are robots that are trying to escape from something.
It's mostly just going to be a character escaping from restraints of sorts. You have a runaway train and you have to put it to rest, but you can't control the train because it has no brakes.
First time I've done something like this with a really fixed time limit, so it's going to be kind of an adventure for me as well.
Some people will probably be here till 10 tomorrow and not have left. Some people might be out of here at 2 in the morning. We'll see.
The process of getting from the germ of an idea to a final product is not a direct A to B path. Most designers believe in a very iterative process, a very step-by-step process. I call that sitting in all the chairs. Like I sit in the designer chair for a while, and I jump over and sit in the player's chair and play the game, and I'm almost psychoanalyzing myself. Okay, am I having fun here?
I drew something out here, took a picture of it with my camera, uploaded it to my computer, and I just finished tracing it. Now I've kind of got something I can base my animations off of. Hopefully it moves us one step toward final product.
We already have like a skeleton of the game, so you can run it and you kind of get a menu system.
We have it pretty much displaying the map that it's going to take place on.
So we have a level system working, and you can kind of move around and bump into things and die. And
Still trying to figure out what the theme. I think it's kind of like escape from this haunted house or this, this place where you don't want to be. What I'm looking for is to show on the screen the best path to get out of the maze. And I think if you give the player too wide of a view, it might be too easy to solve the maze. For me, it's a lot easier to try something because I feel guilty asking somebody else to do something and saying, that didn't really work, we can't use that. We could never imagine the whole game on day one. All we have is kind of the germ of an idea. It's almost like a cooking, what do you what do you got in the cupboard, let's make a meal out of that. Just after I graduated from college, I had a real job, a systems analyst kind of job. In my spare time, I created a game on our network. I guess somebody else found it, and all of a sudden everybody on the network was playing. It was, kind of a light bulb going off in my head, and maybe I could give this a try. I entered into a conversation with Bill. We were at a company function. He saw the opportunity to kind of get in on the ground floor of this industry. There was a Red Baron game. World War I flying game, and Bill was the fighter pilot, so he kind of sat down in the game and said, let me show you how this is done, young man. I shot down a couple planes and got a score. And so I said, well, let me give it a try. And I sat down and I shot down a lot more planes and got a higher score. And he said, well, wait a minute, I'm the fighter pilot. How come you are able to get this higher score? And I said, well, I'm a programmer, so I can see the algorithms that are being used and the tactics, And he said, well, hey, maybe we should start a company. You might know what you're doing. So that was the beginning of Microprose. We had basically no clue what we were doing. I would make these games, put them in a plastic baggie. I'd print up a manual on my home printer, maybe 4 or 5 pages. Bill would actually run up and down I-95 between Washington and New York looking for computer stores that might be interested in buying this box of games that he had in the back seat of his car. I remember getting a call from him one day. He was on the road. He said, Sid, I think we're onto something. This guy bought 15 games. This could go somewhere. Eventually things kind of got rolling, and Bill said to me, Sid, I can afford to hire you now. You can quit your day job and become a game designer full time.
So right now it's about 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. About 16 hours have elapsed in the contest. We've got about a day and 8 hours left.
I actually just woke up. These other guys have been working through the night, so I'm looking through what they wrote to try and get up to speed.
Morning.
What's going on?
I'm trying to get the enemy loading thing working.
Oh, snap.
Last night I got to kind of a good spot where I had kind of created a play field and it looked like fun. I think the title of this game is Escape from Zombie Hotel. So it pretty much says it all. I kind of made a list. Next thing is to put in the zombies.
It's nice to take a little break and see how everybody's doing and catch up, because when we're in the room working on the games, everybody's pretty focused.
Just gotta keep working on designing the levels, I guess.
As long as we're not last, I think that's a win for us.
I'm definitely hoping for that.
It's pretty cool to have Sid Meier play a game because we spent so much time growing up as kids playing his games.
Also, if you haven't seen his game yet, it's ridiculous. You must have like a function like build game. Done.
We spent a lot of time going back and forth between designing, programming, playing. As we get closer to shipping, we have to kind of settle down so the testers can test something stable. We ran kind of the first play test. There were kind of 2 or 3 problems, I thought. You were basically encouraged to shoot at everything you saw, and there was no real penalty for that. If I wanted you to kind of think before you shot the zombies, so what if you had like limited ammunition?
What if there were an alternative to shooting range?
Kind of feels like it's 80% there. For tomorrow, I really want to probably start to sequence games together. Maybe even let you select a difficulty level or something like that.
Just break bam. Just hit them and their guts go flying. Yeah, we have a few levels in there to test for, to see if everything works, and then we have the last level is just for our enjoyment. It's just like 30 or 40 enemies in there, and you just mow them all down as the tiger.
We're pretty happy with how far we've gotten. We have the basic game down. It's pretty fun.
It's meant to be a 2-player versus sort of game.
There's two cupids and they're trying to kill each other. We're having fun, but we're probably biased towards it.
I think we've kind of overcome most of the technical hurdles. Right now we're deciding what information we want to display and the game screen.
I feel like it's really going to come together in these last 19 hours and 13 minutes. Is there any exciting gameplay? Not yet.
The lack of sleep is definitely getting to me.
Sleep is a second priority.
I've always kind of cultivated that sort of a situation where I can have some time to explore ideas on my own. And Civilization started that way. I was actually supposed to be working on another game at the time, and like after a month or so, this thing appeared. And for quite a few months, it was only myself and Bruce working on the game. Every day or two, I'd give him a new version. He would play it, come up with some ideas. I'd integrate those. I'd play it, put in some of my own ideas. That was the way games were done in 1989, 90, in the good old days. And then we talk about our games as almost our children. Are they going to go out in the world and make a success of themselves? We never know, and they all have their own personalities. And so I'm proud when it goes out and does well. Every now and then, the business side kind of intrudes. My career at Microprose kind of had to come to an end at a certain point to kind of move on to a new environment. Firaxis was really an attempt to create the original feeling of Microprose, kind of a small studio focused on game development. I've actually been very fortunate to work with great entrepreneurs that have kind of allowed me to be creative, so I've been very lucky.
Yes, today, the last day of our competition is Valentine's Day. We do have all guys in there today. Valentine's Day. This was not intentional. It just happened to work out. This was a weekend we could do it, and we didn't actually realize that Sunday was the 14th until about a week ago when somebody mentioned it, and at that point we had everything booked, and there wasn't too much we could change about that. I don't know if that says anything about anything, but take it as you will.
We stayed up all night, which we didn't plan, but it just happened, I guess.
Things kind of grinded to a halt because we were so tired. We eventually passed out.
There are times, like a writer, when you're looking at that blank page and you're saying, I have no idea what to do. How do you make something fun? It's this kind of ethereal concept. And it turns out that adding more zombies, faster zombies, does really increase the difficulty of the game. I'd say maybe 20% of the original concept is still there, and the rest kind of got evolved and changed as we went along.
This evening, we'll be judging the games. Some of these guys I know have been here all night. They've probably gotten very little sleep over the last 2 days or so. That's definitely going to lead to some trip-ups in coding. I know there's some groups that are still maybe a little bit behind. Ideally, teams should just be working on polish.
We have an hour and 30 minutes left.
We're pretty close to the wire.
We're not gonna make it.
12 minutes left in the competition.
Was the juice worth the squeeze? Yeah, I suppose it was.
Just going to talk about how the process is going to work real quick, and then we will get started.
Three of us and Sid Meier are going to play all the games. We're going to write up our scores, crunch some numbers, and then we'll come out with the results.
Go for it. Joystick moves and the A button fires. I think we're going to put Escape from Zombie Hotel on the back burner for a while. Maybe, let the ideas percolate. Maybe there'll be a kind of groundswell out there and people start picketing and sending writing letters. You never know. We might come back to it.
Yeah, it's movement with the A and D keys. It's kind of disappointing, but I'm still pleased with a lot of the things that we did get going. We encountered too many unforeseen bugs, and
there are very few foreseen bugs.
Yeah.
And you move really slow right now because you're in shackles and you got a ball and chain.
I'm
so.
restrained.
Yeah, you are.
Two of them are totally restrained. I can see that you really use this interface. One thing, it seemed like I could play better by just watching this than by watching what's going up there.
I'm Joe.
Hi, Joe. I'm Sid.
Nice to meet you, Sid.
See ya.
Fairly simple little game.
All right.
The goal is to capture these flying birds. It's for their own good, though, don't worry. You've run into what I'm calling the redbird bug. It's a little bit of a showstopper at the moment.
Okay.
It's been pretty intense. Anytime you try to develop a project like this, you're going to lose a little sleep, but we've managed to put in a good amount of work.
Our game is called The Mad Magician. I guess we made it how we would like to play.
I think we put together a pretty good game.
I'm fairly confident.
It'd be handy to give me one moment to figure out where I am.
So the goal is to kill your opponent. These are your controls, those are mine. Okay. Sorry, they're backwards. So you can shoot arrows, lay bombs, and build walls.
Some parts of it take a lot of skill, and other times it's just luck.
I think we'll win, to be honest.
We're feeling pretty good about our project. Hopefully Sid likes it. If not, we'll probably cry a little bit.
Alright, so let's just go to the list. We'll start with Tainted Restraint. I mean, it was kind of unplayable.
You get another 48 hours. That's a 96-hour game.
Rest Tree.
I like the controller. That was a high point.
Jailbreak. There wasn't a whole lot of gameplay, unfortunately. I mean, it was like the one level. Valentine's Day followed the original theme. It's kind of cool that they did a multiplayer game. I know that hasn't been done very often. The Mad Magician. But overall, it was pretty cool. It was fun. Theme was pretty well integrated. I think like you had your powers that were restrained.
Went very fast. Often hitting keys as fast as I could.
Zoo Escape.
Fast moving, but you got to try again right away.
I mean, it was a lot of fun to play, and weren't any really errors or anything that stopped it. And then the last was Avian Abduction.
Surprisingly solid game. It definitely chose something they could do in 48 hours. I think there's one bug that hung up the game, which was unfortunate.
It's a very kind of cool to try to get the high score and keep going. It was compelling to definitely had some replay there.
For 48 hours, a lot of people had polished games, had finished games, had playable games.
We are ready to announce the winners.
This is the first time I've done it, and I wasn't sure I could get something done in that amount of time.
In 8th place is Team 2 with Tainted Restraint.
Well, I think this is just a foretaste of what's going to happen in computer gaming. There's just this new generation of computer game designers.
In 3rd place is Team 8 with Valentine's Day.
A lot of times you try to do something ambitious and time slips away, a bug or two, and you can be kind of out of luck. And I think a lot of our teams did a great job.
Then in 2nd place is Team 5 with the Mad Magician. In 1st place is Team 1 with Zoo Escape. Come on down and claim your prize.
I was shocked when they heard it. I'm still kind of shaking.
Yeah, the juice was worth the squeeze, I would say.
yeah, it was worth the squeeze.
I mean, great ideas, great execution, good teamwork.
Looking forward to doing more of it.
I'd like to hope that part of my legacy is encouraging and inspiring other game designers to try new things. I think game design is an art. I think it is something where you can put a lot of your own personality, creativity into. Wherever there's a new technology, games are one of the first things that kind of take advantage of it. They are so fundamentally empowering, encouraging, engrossing, and I hope I've had a little bit to do with encouraging that.